The towers sang, and you cried. Hey folks, Take Two Doctor Who review, and it is the first of 2 Christmas specials that I need to get through before I can get to Series 10. Boy, that was a long stretch of time before they gave us, proper episodes again. Anyways, The Husbands of River Song. This one is always one that I've had kind of mixed feelings about. And whenever I say I have mixed feelings about something, it can mean one of a few different things. Sometimes it means that, there's elements that are good, but there's nitpicky things that are bugging me. Or sometimes it means that there's actually very clear delineations of this whole chunk I don't like as much and this whole chunk I do. This kind of falls under the former. Although it would be an overstatement for me to say I dislike the front end. I just don't like it as much, largely because it falls into what a lot of the Christmas specials do. And no, I'm not wearing the Christmas hat for this one because, well, Christmas barely enters into it. It's really just the antlers that he has at the very front of the thing, and there's some Christmas carols at the beginning. Does it bug anyone else that 5,000 years in the future they're still singing the same Christmas carols? There's been no new ones, and they haven't even had the lyrics alter naturally over time as language has evolved, or it got mistranslated somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, totally random nitpick that does not matter. Boy, that gets us off to a good start, doesn't it? Now, part of what I don't love about the front end is just the tone of the thing, because it's going for that lighter, goofier tone that a lot of the Christmas specials go for, and that more often than not rubs me the wrong way in Doctor Who. The music doesn't help. Look, I love Murray Gold when he's on point, but whenever an episode is light, he just gets this very goofy music cues that I really don't take to, because they feel like just a half a centimeter away from just being punctuating jokes directly in that manner. And dude, if it's funny, I'll laugh. I don't need the music to tell me it's funny. So that always bothers me. But we open with the Doctor meeting Nardole. And for as much as I like Nardole, and I like Nardole a lot, I don't like him in this. His introduction doesn't work for me. I think a lot of it just has to do with he doesn't yet have the rapport with the Doctor that I love later on. Largely being that Nardole just kind of is frequently fed up and irritated with the guy. Here, he's much whinier. He's much more about everything. I'm like, that gets old dang quick. So that's a rough start. We get River, and River's fun. And River's always been fun, but I feel like later appearances, they tried to turn her almost into a substitute Jack Harkness in terms of the level of frivolity they tried to inject into her. And it's honestly a little much. And I think that's kind of on display here. I think she works best when, you get the sense that she is having fun, but she's still, she's not overly cavalier about everything. Here she's got that going on a little bit. It comes together better on the latter end, but we'll get there. So our main villain here is King Hydroflax, which is a head currently detached from a cyborg body that kind of has its own, I was going to say agenda. That's not quite right. Its own thought processes on what should be going on and how things are going to work from here. I don't know the actor who plays the head of Hydroflax, and whenever he's not shouting, he's good. He's quite good, actually. He's got a line that I love, this little exchange he has with the Doctor.
A king does not endanger his people for no reason.
You're endangering them now.
I'm cross.
Moments like that, I'm like, oh, this is great. But then so much of what he's doing just devolves into him shouting, stop them! Restrain them! Attack them! Like, oh, for God's sake. Dude. Aside from Daleks, nobody's personality should be shouts a lot. Because shouting, honestly, drowns out whatever personality you have. It doesn't work as a substitute. So he doesn't always work for me for a fair chunk of the thing. I do like how excited the Doctor gets at the idea that he gets to step into the TARDIS as if it's his first time and really overdo the it's bigger on the inside thing. The beat itself is fine, but it's his joy in getting to do it. That's what sells that moment. Overall, things start clicking into place much more once they get to the ship with all of the very bad people and the restaurant. And, they're being waited on by this scummy little blue maitre d' sort of guy who... his first answer, and are you having him for dinner? Oh, well, I'll have the chef prepare him. Like, that's the kind of place this is and the kind of person he is. And then, the Doctor still kind of waiting for River to recognize him and realizing that she doesn't. And then it sets up the turning point where things really start to work in this episode. Once it truly locks into the emotional connection of the Doctor and River, as opposed to just the adventuring of them, then it really starts to click. And when she has her whole thing where she basically gets questioned like, you love the Doctor? Yes, I do. And he loves you, and he'll come and rescue you. And she says, no, he won't.
You are the woman who loves the Doctor.
Yes, I am. I've never denied it. But whoever said he loved me back?
And they scan her like she's not lying. She honestly doesn't think that he loves her. But she's... I'm not sure if okay with that is the right word, but she is resigned to that. She has accepted that. That traveling with the Doctor, being involved with him the way that she is enough. And feeling loved back doesn't have to be part of the equation. And I love that she goes off on this whole thing. And, he's right there. And when she realizes that, she's trying to cover for herself. And the Doctor ribs her for it. But it's really sweet. And it's touching watching her realize that it's him. And him seeing her express that she doesn't think he loves her back. And then there's just the fun of, oh God, her line. I love her line. It's one of the best FU lines in Doctor Who, where she says, oh, well, there's the meteor strike. What meteor strike? Warning, incoming meteor strike.
How could you know?
I'm an archaeologist from the future. I dug you up.
Oh, that's so good. I love that line so much. And then they go to Derylium, and there's something, I hadn't taken particular notice of this element before. It's not like I didn't, I had forgotten that this happened. But there's something exceptionally sweet about the Doctor taking this diamond that River has been doing all this nonsense for and giving it to this guy who's just a nice guy. Just seems like a nice guy and says, hey, you should build a restaurant here. And that creates the restaurant. And he comes to make a reservation. They say, well, we'll have a reservation for the balcony in 4 years. Great, I'll come back. And the lengths that he goes to give her this last night And, one could argue that it's not really lengths. It's what always happened because he already knew there was a restaurant there. It just maybe he didn't always know that he caused it to be built or whatever. But he's going to put in the work to ensure that this is as perfect as he can make it for what he knows is their last night together and what she comes to realize is their last night together. And I love her line.
Happy ever after doesn't mean forever. It just means time.
Because I think that's the cynical mind says happily ever after is nonsense and a lie. Because nothing ever lasts forever. So I like the idea that you get to claim that you had a happily ever after even if it's not forever. It doesn't have to be forever to be a happily ever after. And then it ends with those words, and they lived happily ever after, and the ever after blows away. And then the they lived blows away, and it's just happily. It's just really nice. Once it gets the obligatory Christmas stuff out of the way, once it goes through what is a decent enough little adventure for the Doctor and River and gets them to Derylium. That's where this is really sweet. And just to come back to the diamond in the restaurant, I love that not only is the Doctor ensuring that the restaurant gets built, but it's through an act of kindness. That feels really appropriate, especially for this Doctor as well. So once this thing hits about the halfway mark, maybe a little bit further in, I love it. Front half, I could really take or leave. But I'll rewatch the back end of this and be very happy to. So that's The Husbands of River Song. You rewatched it lately? What'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Bunch of stuff to do. Like, share, subscribe. I have a Patreon. That is what is currently paying the bills and ensuring that this entire operation gets to keep going. And in addition to that, I have merch and social media links. Bunch of stuff in the descriptions. Check them out or don't. End of the day, you're the council. I am just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.